Well, great evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time once again. Every Monday at 9 p.m., we're bringing you Marriage by Design, our weekly web show. Missed you all last week.
Yes.
Missed you guys last week. We hope you missed us as well. I was traveling last week. I was in the city of love without my love. Next time I go back to Paris, I have to take my wife with me. But we're back this week, back in the saddle with episode number 12. Tonight, we're going to be talking about cohabitating, coexisting, and commitment. Cohabitating, coexisting, and commitment. So you know what the name of the game is. It's time for you to share this out. Go ahead and share this out. You hit the share button. You can share it to your page. If you've ever gotten value out of the show, go ahead and share it out, even if it's your first time in anticipation. Matter of fact, I want to say a special shout out to our first timers. If it is your first time tuning into the show, say me, and we'll give you like a special shout out in the comments. If it's your first time, you know that we want you to comment, we want you to like, we want you to engage. We will respond to you. This is a live show, of course, and always turn on those notifications so anytime that we go live, you get notified about that as well. And as you're sharing out, there might be some specific people that come to mind that you know need to hear this topic. Again, the topic is cohabitating, coexisting, and commitment. So you get the share button and then invite, and you can type in specific names. So one of the things we do on the show is really cool. Each and every week, we bring you a book of the week. And this one, the book we had of the week this week goes right in line with our topic. Again, the topic is cohabitating, coexisting, and commitment. So my wife is going to do the honors this week of our book of the week. I'm going to turn it over to my better 90%, Yolanda Penn. Take it away.
Thank you, honey. The book of this week is called Before You Live Together. This book is by David Grudgel. I'm probably killing and butchering up this man's name. But this is a phenomenal book. My favorite word, if you've ever watched the show, is phenomenal. And it is. It truly is. And I really got into this book when a couple of weeks ago, when I was like, you know what would be a great book to read? And I had this actually on my shelf. And the reason this is such a great book is because more and more couples are deciding to live together to do a trial run. And this book goes into detail talking about why that is not a good idea if you ever plan on marrying that person. Right. It talks about the statistics, how you're more likely to do several different things other than marry that person. And we're going to get into more of those details. But if you're thinking about living with someone that you're dating or engaged to, this is a great book to pick up if you one day want to marry that person. And some of the stuff I knew and some of the stuff I didn't know. And one of the things I think that is worth talking about right now as we go into our different topics is a lot of times people are depressed or there's more aggression in cohabitating relationships, which actually blew my mind. But that is the case in a lot of cohabitating relationships. So pick this book up if you know someone that is considering. Oh, it's got a glare on it, right?
Yep. We'll put it a little closer. I'm close to the
okay
camera. Bam. Okay,
it's still got a glare. But anyway, bright. It's called, because the book is white.
Yeah, right.
It's called Before You Live Together. Pick this book up.
Let's try camera 2 maybe here.
Know someone that is considering living with their significant other.
Yeah, that's a little better.
To do a trial run for marriage.
All right, there it is. Awesome. So, great book. Great job, babe. And go ahead and share this out again because we're going to go ahead and get into it. We're going to talk about cohabitating, coexisting, and commitment. Now, we know at Marriage by Design, we like to bring topics that are not just for married people, but also people who are single that desire to be married one day. Married. Any of our show topics that we're talking about marriage, if you plan on being married one day, you need to have that preemptive maintenance.
And I would even say it's good for families. Like one day we plan on our daughter, our sons, and our youngest daughter getting married as well. Mm-hmm. And this is something that we would want them to definitely be equipped to handle when they got that age. So as a parent, if you're a parent and you have teenage kids or younger kids that one day plan on getting married, this would be a great topic as well.
So this topic right here is certainly going to be for single people. People who have families and you want to be, particularly if your children are already getting older, teenage children, like you said. But guess what? this topic is for married people as well.
Yeah.
Because we always hit things from a little bit different angle.
Right.
So I don't want you to hear the topic if you're married and be like, okay, well, I'm already married, cohabitating, living together before you're married. That doesn't really apply to me. You may want to stay tuned to the end because we're going to, cover at this thing from a couple different angles. So again, go ahead and share this out. We're going to have a good time. Welcome on, Sharlena. Hey, lady. Glad to have you on the show. And let's go ahead and hop into it. So we have cohabitating, we have coexisting, and then we have commitment.
Yes.
All right.
Commitment.
Right. Commitment. Right. Cohabit. We were playing around with that before the show. We got cohabitating, coexisting, and commitment. Right. We got commitment. So first off, let's talk about cohabitating. Cohabitating is really when people are nothing more than roommates.
Right.
And they're really just roommates. And when people do this before marriage, again, going back to the book, there was a lot of statistics throughout the book. We can't go into all of them. You need to pick up the book, but it was a lot of information that was eye-opening about cohabitating, because in this day and age, everybody thinks, well, it's smart to live with the person. I'm gonna be married to him. I need to know. I need to try it before I buy it. Right. A lot of people use that terminology. So what did you discover about that?
The first thing I discovered, you're 50% more likely to divorce. You're 50% more likely not to marry that person that you are cohabitating with. Wow. And then you were 50% more likely than people that don't cohabitate to have aggression in your relationship, which actually all of those different things blew my mind. And I was like, wow. So not only do you, as a married couple, if you don't cohabitate together, you have 40 to 50% chance of, divorce, but you even increase those odds by living together before you get married.
And that was really, eye-opening to me, because it's one of those things that's counterintuitive.
Right.
And let us go ahead and say this. We want to make sure we're transparent. We messed this up. We didn't do this the right way.
Right.
We were cohabitating prior to we had a commitment, but we are certainly committed to each other now. We got married. But just because it happened to work out for us.
Right.
All right, we were fortunate that things worked out and we have a very healthy, and wonderful marriage, but the numbers just show otherwise. So we often have people have anecdotal stories. Well, I did it, or someone else did it, and we don't want to be hypocritical. That's why we're full disclosure here.
Right.
But just because you did something and got away with it doesn't mean that it's the best model to go after. I never studied throughout school. I was one of those people who just waited to the last minute to do the book report or to do the homework, and I skated by and I got a degree. Does that mean that's the best way to go about approaching college? Absolutely not.
Right. And one thing that I definitely want to address is the way that your mindset is when you're cohabitating. And in the book, it talks about how the author, he said, it's like you're going to buy a piece of material when you're trying out a marriage. He gave an example of a golf club. He said that at this golf range that he went to go hit balls, if you wanted to buy a particular driver or whatever it was, you can actually pay $5 and use it. And if you didn't want that particular one, you could trade it back in and get another one and use it. Trade it back in, get another one. Wow. And they would take that cost off of the one that you wanted to buy. And he
almost
ended
like
up
leasing.
Yeah, exactly. Almost like leasing.
Yeah.
And you can really equip that to your relationship. If you're living with someone, it's like I'm leasing you. I'm trying you out. And if you don't meet my physical needs, if you don't meet my emotional needs, if you don't meet my needs overall, then guess what? I'm going to throw you back and try somebody else.
And this is a different mindset than when people say, don't cohabitate. They just, don't be shagging up.
Right,
and
exactly. Your favorite word.
I can't stand that. Right? I can't stand shacking up. Like, who's living in a shack? Usually when people cohabitate, they're in an apartment,
right?
Or townhouse,
right?
Even if they're not in the house, shack. They ain't in no shack. Even a trailer, right? But this mentality. Again, we wanted to hit it from not just the single viewers who plan to be married one day. What about married people? Sometimes cohabitating, after people are married, they're still continuing on with that mindset. They're cohabitating, and you see married couples who are just that. remember we said cohabitating is nothing more than roommates.
Right.
You see married people who are really operating as nothing more than roommates. It's really almost like a business decision. You know, that they're sleeping in separate rooms.
Yes.
They're literally roommates. They have this 50-50 mindset about everything. We talk about finances in multitude of shows, and we believe, you know, finances. I don't have any money. My wife doesn't have any money. It's not hers. It's not mine. It's ours. There's no more me. There's we.
Right.
So even with that 50-50 mindset that you have from cohabitating, you know, you transition that over into marriage, and you know, when you handle these bills, I handle these bills. That's not what marriage is about.
Not at all. Not at all.
So from cohabitating, you have a deeper level of coexisting. Again, cohabitating is just nothing more than roommates. Talk to us about coexisting.
Coexisting, I like the way it's defined here. The state or condition of living in harmony despite different ideologies or interests. That when I heard you say coexisting, it means we're just in the same place. We're not arguing. We're not getting along. We just are there. We're both just there. You have your thing that you're doing. I have my thing that you're doing. And you find this a lot in marriages. You have your thing you're doing. I find my thing I'm doing. We're enjoying life separately, but we come back together to live together. That means you're coexisting together as a couple.
Hey, what's happening, Paris Riddick? Welcome to the show, Kim Larkin. What's up, fam? So we are definitely teaching the people. Again, our topic today is cohabitating, coexisting, and commitment. Right? You got to say it that way. Cohabitating, coexisting, and commitment. And we're talking about coexisting right now. And this goes a little bit further than cohabitating. Cohabitating, you're just nothing more than roommates. You know, coexisting, there is some level of harmony there.
So, yeah,
there's some level of harmony where you're roommates in harmony. Let's call it that. You're roommates in harmony. I love that definition again. The state or condition of living in harmony despite different ideologies or interests. I want to talk about the interests a little bit, particularly for people before marriage. A lot of times the interest when it comes to coming together to cohabitate and to coexist is some practical interest based on convenience. Based on convenience, people have this perceived financial benefit. Where you know, well, we're together. You know, why do you have your place? Why this is the type of reasoning people use to coexist in one household. Is, well, I can minimize my bills. You can minimize you. And you're really thinking this is a side, not directly related. Well, it's kind of related. When you even have this financial mindset of marriage altogether, people think, well, your money is going to help my bills. That's what I'm thinking, right? And then she's thinking, my money is going to help her bills. And you're thinking you're going to combine incomes when a lot of times you get together and you really combine debt.
That's right.
Right? Because you're looking at that person. But if that person is struggling financially and you're struggling financially, I don't have any extra to help her finances, and she doesn't have any extra to help my finances. So you're thinking that you're going to come together, you know, conveniently.
Right. I agree. And what was crazy about it, in this book, again, because I've been reading how it addressed the financial part of it. And because you're thinking, oh, this financially makes sense, it doesn't make sense if you don't make it. You're doing your trial run, and 9 months into your year lease, you're like, you know what? This is not going to work out. And now y'all break the lease, and now you're even owing more money. Not to mention, if you say, you know what, well, we can't break the lease, we have to stay in this situation, then you're dealing with all this emotional hurt, pain, all this different kind of stuff that's just the same as a divorce. And a lot of times, even the couples that said it was worse than a divorce because they didn't feel like they had a way out.
Yeah, no, and so again, you have a lot of the same challenges that present themselves for the people who are cohabitating as the people who are coexisting.
Right.
You know, and oftentimes a relationship that's built on practical benefits. So let's say they coexist and they try it out, and then they end up getting married. They still take that into the marriage versus true love, particularly if someone has been coexisting together for a long time. You see the common law marriages, and then people they say, well, we've been living together this long, we've been doing. We might as well now. Marriage is just a might as well thing versus what it's supposed to really be about love, about true love, about that commitment. It's not about that. It's just we've been coexisting for this long, and it has worked out. We might as well get married. And you're building the marriage based off of that versus the reasons why you should build a marriage off of. It's just not the place to be in.
Which is that sacrificial love. When you marry someone, it's a sacrificial type love. When I married you, I didn't marry you for what you brought to the table. I married you because I loved you and I wanted to bring something to your life. When you look at it from the opposite way of what I can get when you're coexisting or cohabitating, it's all about me, 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 me. But the sacrificial love about it is, what can I give to you? I love you, so I want to give everything I have of myself to you.
Right. And that brings us right to commitment.
Yes.
Okay, so we have cohabitating, we have coexistence, and we have commitment. I love saying that, right?
You do like saying it. Are you going to change it like that?
No, yeah, that's how I got to say it from now on, right? Rasimi, welcome on. Paris, appreciate the shout out. Paris said, glad to be here. Love what you all are doing. It's power and knowledge. Absolutely. You got to keep educating people because it's potential power and knowledge.
Right.
According to Napoleon Hill. It's when you apply that knowledge, but you got to get it before you can apply it. So appreciate the shout out there, brother. Let's go ahead and talk about this commitment. I like this commitment. The definition, I like looking up terms when we're doing the show. So commitment, the definition here is the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause. Keyword, what? Dedicated. So this is not the lease. I'll try it. The try it mentality. And then after trying it and being roommates, then we go from just cohabitating to coexisting. We have a little harmony, and then it goes to, well, we might as well, but we carry all of that mindset of trying it out or leasing that person into, from a lease to own type of situation. Here's where the commitment comes in. I love this definition of love. This is what true love is about. Vadi Balcom, his definition of love, I don't know any way to define it better than this. Love is an act of the will accompanied by emotion that leads to action on behalf of the object.
Wow.
Let me read that one more time.
Yeah, read it again. I have to look at it.
Love is an act of the will accompanied by emotion. So love is not driven by emotion. It's not a feeling. People talk about, I fell in love and, the heart wants what the heart wants.
Right.
No.
Right.
It's not void of emotion.
Right.
It's simply accompanied by emotion, not driven by emotion either, right? So love is an act of the will accompanied by emotion that leads to action. Love is an action word. People will say, I love you, but what are they doing?
Right.
Or do you have any action? So that commitment that leads to action on behalf of the object. So you were explaining that so well when you were talking about it's sacrificial, right? Love leads to action on behalf of the object or the other person in this case. Love leads to action on behalf of your spouse, not on behalf of yourself, not on behalf of, I want to minimize my bills, so let's move in together. Not, I want to try it for my sense of security before we're committed to each other.
Right.
That is what love is all about. And so before marriage, people feel like they can't have this commitment before they cohabitate. But they really should wait till they get married.
Right. You should. You want me to move on to that? You should wait before you get married to cohabitate. Because once you get married and you take that vow, you have that agreement between you and the other person. A lot of times it's between your God. Then you feel like it's more than just us going and signing some lease papers. You feel like, you know what? I'm in it for the long haul. So the little ups and downs, the little things that may come to, hit you or test your relationship, I should say. You feel like, you know what? I'm in it to win it. And nothing is going to throw our relationship asunder. So why do
people not wait to get married? Why don't they wait for the commitment before they move in together? What are some of the things that you hear about? Well, we're gonna commit to each other, but we're gonna move in before.
I've heard several different things. Well, the first thing, that was a long time ago. People aren't doing that anymore. That was in the 70s. That was so long ago. I love this person. We're going to get married one day. So why not, go ahead and live together now?
Right, and when people think it's just based off of tradition, they're probably missing a lot of the nuggets that we just went through here. And one of the things that I hear often is that, well, you got to know the person. You got to get to know the person, right? And the truth of the matter is, you don't have to cohabitate.
Not at all.
To get to know someone.
I agree.
You don't have to cohabitate to get to know someone, because the way you do one thing is typically how you do everything. So you can observe during the dating process. This is what you date for dating data, right? You collect data, and how are they in other environments? You can go and see the person's home once you get to a certain level of interest in dating. Okay, probably not by yourself at night. Don't be Netflixing and chilling. We Netflixing just gonna get you in trouble, right? But you don't have to cohabitate to get to know someone. And then another thing, people talk about sex, right? Like, okay, well, particularly, I would say particularly men, but women too nowadays. I need to know, before I get married and I'm stuck with this, that it's gonna be, it's gonna be right.
Right.
And go ahead.
What you find in the most fulfilling sex that people have is in marriage. So if you're doing that trial run, I'm going to try it before, we get married, then you actually are messing everything up, or possibly you have the chance to mess everything up before you do get married because you wanted to try it out. It truly isn't worth it if you want to marry that person. So if you're wanting to marry that person, then don't do a trial run, and definitely don't do a sex trial run, because chances are you could mess something up.
If you commit to sex as being something that you're only going to get from the person that you marry, think of how powerful it is. We're not just talking about, we're not giving you, do's and don'ts. We're giving you the practicality of what this is going to do to avoid challenges in your marriage. We give you the practicality of how to have the best odds to have a healthy marriage, which we know the benefits of marriage. That's a whole show topic in itself. People who are married live longer. They have better health, particularly men, because we're stupid, and women keep us from killing ourselves. So if you want to have all of those benefits that come with marriage, you want to do it the right way. And this idea of sex, you have to have the sex before marriage, is so further from the truth, because guess what? If you really care about the other person and there's really a commitment there, you're going to be able to sexually please the other person. You're going to be able to learn the other person. And if it's two people that are in marriage and somebody's not sexually fulfilled, it's probably not really a sexual issue. We talk about this multiple times on our show. It's not really a sexual issue. It's probably a communication issue, or maybe it's a communication issue. Like that, you did that. Communication issue is a selfish issue. If the person's like, well, I got mine, I'm good, then that's not really a sex issue.
Right.
So you don't have to have sex before marriage. And here's the thing: when you wait for the commitment before you move together, after marriage, there's a commitment there, and we kind of already talked about it in reverse about the negatives that come with that trial mindset. Well, the reverse is true for the benefits that come from the commitment, because the commitment is a decision, and when the decision is made, the choices are easy. Let me say it again. When a decision is made, the choices are easy. And see, the decision and choice are not synonyms. They don't mean the same thing. A choice is an act of selecting when faced with two or more possibilities.
That's good.
That's what a choice is. You got two more possibilities and you select one of them. A decision is a conclusion or resolution reached after consideration.
So after the choices.
Right, or after consideration. So there's been consideration, there's been deep thought. A decision requires consideration. A choice is just, I have two options, I select something. One. If you've already made deep consideration if you made deep consideration to commit to this person, I've made deep consideration. But before you propose, before you accept a man's hand in marriage, you're going to give what? Deep consideration.
Oh, yes.
Right? So now that you've made a decision, deep consideration, choices that come along are easy. Choices are easy. So think of all the choices you may be faced with in cohabitating and coexisting, and you haven't made any decision yet. You're faced with making choices, and you haven't made a decision, that means every choice is a decision.
Wow.
Now every choice requires you to have great consideration.
When you haven't made that decision.
When you've made a decision, the choices are easy. I hope y'all are picking up what I'm putting down.
Way easier.
All right, so we got a question here. Charlena asked, how long should someone wait or date before getting married? Why don't you go ahead and tackle that? How long should someone wait?
I really don't think you have to put a time frame on it. If I had to put a time, I'm saying 6 months or so is where I would start. I don't think it needs to go longer than a year. I know a lot of people hold to, hey, I want to see you through all 4 seasons. I don't know why people sometimes say that. But you want to see men, and Charlene, answer your question, you want to see that guy in certain situations to know how he is going to handle those different situations.
Right.
You want to see him, James likes to give this little joke, with a slow internet connection. But basically...
you don't really know somebody till you see them on slow internet. They get a slow internet connection. Now you get a chance to see them. Because here's the thing. You're going to date the act. Everybody has an act. You date the act, but you marry the react.
Right. So basically in saying that with that slow internet connection, what you're wanting to see is how does he handle situations that are stressful? How does he handle high stress? Different situations like that. You want to see him around his mother, father, brothers, family members. You want to see him around that. You want to see, I honestly see how he eats at the table. If you don't pass the manners test, if you just
now you giving her criteria.
You're right. You got your own criteria.
But back to the point of this. How long? Listen.
Right.
This 5-year date.
No.
All this type of stuff. What you waiting for?
After a certain age, it really truly is what you're waiting. If you're a teenager, if you're starting to date and you're courting, and you're 16, 17, and you're courting that person, I don't believe that you should date or court not to marry. So when you're ready to marry is when you start courting. So it still holds true. It still doesn't have to be this long, drawn out year, 2 year, 3 year type situation. If you know that that's someone that you're going to marry, why are you still dating that particular person? For what reason?
We're dating for data.
Correct.
And so once you have the data, that if you're collecting data over the course of a year, 18 months, and then it's going to 2 years, 3, 5 years, what are you still waiting to look for? I say it in my sales career, tell me yes or tell me no, but tell me quick because I got to go.
Yeah.
Right? So if I'm collecting data and that data is telling me no, this isn't a person, why am I spending 2, 3, 4 years here? Right. If I'm collecting data and everything has told me yes for 12, 18, 24 months, what am I waiting for? And even when it goes to long engagements, we'll wrap up with this here. When it goes to long engagements, this is up, Precious Harris, P in the house. When it comes to long engagements, if you can find a woman and you want to be with this woman and you're not cohabitating, right? You're waiting on commitment before you, engage physically, and you can propose to her, and you can wait a year, 18 months, 24 months to do what married folks do. If you can form your mouth to say, let's wait a year, I don't know if you need to be with that person.
Right.
Because it should be something driving you to where you can't wait to be with that person. Mm-hmm. And so, when I see like these 2-3 year engagements, I don't get what you waiting on. People will put more interest into.
Well, they're not waiting. They're already married.
Yeah, they ain't celibate. I tell you that.
There you go.
Right? So tell me yes, tell me no. Right, that's right. Tell me yes, tell me no, but tell me quick because I got to go. That's what it is, Precious. Charlena said, can you explain the difference between dating and courting and the standard? Just real quick because we got to get to our marriage message of the week. We're running out of time. You want to explain the difference between dating and courting?
Sure.
And the standard?
Dating is something that you do loopsy daisy. Oh, I'm dating this person. We're going here, blah, blah, blah. Courting is, like James was talking about, when you do have that commitment. I'm courting you to see if this is going to lead down a road of marriage. And once I figure out, you know what, it is, then we're going and progressing along the chart. After courting is marriage. When you're dating someone, Dating is just, I think, loopsy daisy. Date for 10 years. You know, date for date. I'm so old some days. You can date for however long, but courting is more of a commitment versus dating is not really that commitment.
Right. I like it. So there it is. So as we always do, we want to end with our marriage message of the week. This week brought to you by yours truly. Let's get it popping. So I want to talk to you all about habits. We know that to have great success in anything is going to be very dependent upon your habits, and marriage is no different. Great habits are the greatest of servants, while bad habits are the worst of masters. Great habits are easy to live with, but difficult to form. You just fall into bad habits, but you have to develop good habits. And so one of the habits that we have as human beings is to place blame externally. We have a natural tendency to look at situations or circumstances that we don't like and place the blame externally. I want to challenge you to change that habit and not look externally. We're talking a lot about cohabitating. Well, guess what? Intimacy, being in a cohabitating, committed relationship, once you get married and you start living with someone, the intimacy that comes with living with someone is very, very revealing. It's very revealing. And it's not revealing about who you probably think I'm talking about. It's not revealing about the other person. It's very revealing about you. It's very revealing about you, how you're able to deal with the intimacy that comes in cohabitating once you get inside a marriage relationship. And so that habit that you have of placing blame externally, a lot of times people get together, they get married, now they're in this intimate close quarters that they've never been in before, and different things that are annoying them, you have the habit, the tendency to place the blame externally. But it's just as revealing about you as it is about them when something drives you up the wall. When someone is doing something and you say, well, I only act that way because I'm only this way because he or she, that's just as revealing about you as it is about them. What does that say about your ability to coexist and cohabitate and have a commitment to someone that doesn't always do things the way you think they should be done? What does it say about you that you can't get along with someone if they're not always doing exactly what you want them to do or always doing things in the order that you think should be done? It's very revealing about you. So marriage is a mirror in a great sense. It reveals to you the areas that you need to strive and grow in and work in as well, particularly the intimacy that comes with living together. So as you go forward, work on the habit of not placing blame externally. When something makes you feel a certain type of way, look at yourself and what they're saying about you just as much as you look at what that has to do with the other person. So that's our marriage message of the week. Hope you guys got some value out of this show right here. We will see you again, of course, on next Monday.
Yes, at 9 p.m.
Same bat channel, same bat place. Between now and then, go out there, design the type of marriage you deserve for you and your family, and we will see you on the journey.